because we're here.
I don't know. I don't see anything yet.
I think that's called a delay. I think that's how that works.
Is that how that works?
I'm trying to make sure all of the little bars that indicate noises coming through are moving appropriately so that I can do this. Hello.
Hi.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. This is a weekly live stream where we record our podcast, the audio version of which hits all major podcast apps every Friday. We are here 9 minutes early. If you are here for the stream and don't like idle chit chat, you got a few minutes. If you are here after the stream is over, but before I put in timestamps and you don't like idle chit chat, fast forward by about 9 minutes. Hi, Claire. Ta-da! I did the thing.
Wow.
And this is the point where somebody shows up and goes, oh, I didn't actually hear that. You're on mute. Nothing's working probably. Blah, blah, blah. And Kim has come in with the validation. Thank you, Kim.
There you go.
Hello. Hello, Palm Mom 13. Hello. Hello. Hi, Rara. I love being validated.
I'm here.
You are here. You're looking good, man. You're looking good. I'm just looking raggedy, but it's okay. I've accepted it. I've accepted my goblinness. I'm just going to embrace that I'm in my goblin era. Oh, I was so tickled with myself. Okay, so if you're like, what the heck? Hi, Mr. Spock. Why is Kayla calling herself a goblin? Because I posted a reel on that handle I hate over on Instagram like at 9:30 last night because I got inspired and I went, well, screw a posting schedule of quote best practices and best times. I'm posting it now. And apparently other folks can relate. They are not demure either. Hi, Jeremy, and welcome. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And
Hello.
thanks for being here now. So, but if we sit still for too long, I might fall asleep. I just did the math before we had dinner, before we started doing all this. I've worked 17 days in a row without like full days, like start at 8 a.m., finish at 9 p.m. I am on fumes. But that's okay. That's okay. We're trying to do big things, so that means you gotta put the work in. Also, Kim, I'm pretty sure you probably said something in Discord and I missed it. Why are you wearing a splint? And also, I'm sorry you're wearing a splint. I hope you feel better. What have you got for
my money's on the pup.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Rambunctious puppy. Yeah. I know we'll talk about it in the bonus section, but I'm just thinking about Lola's had a rough week.
Yeah.
Which means that her daddy, JB, has had a rough week because that's his soul dog, and if she ain't doing well, neither is he. So what you got for the butt rub?
Not a thing.
Not a damn thing?
Not a damn
Not
thing.
a damn thing.
Not a...
See. Oh, 9-month-old puppy
Ouch.
slammed my finger into the table. Ow. Ow.
Oh.
Yeah, from what the internet tells me, at about, I'm sure it's before 9 months, but this 9-month-old, this is like the teenage years for
dogs.
and they're wild and they're goofbally and they ain't got a lick of sense, is what the internet tells me.
Kind of like our
Hi,
neighbors.
Silent.
Kind of like our neighbor's dog down the street.
So, first of all, I'm maybe they're doing training. Maybe I'm just not leaving the house often enough. She seems to have calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
She's also a beautiful chocolate lab.
Yeah.
Like, she's freaking gorgeous. She's just wild. I think she's young, right?
Yeah.
She's probably young. And she needs to be trained. But every time I've watched her come racing into our yard to pick up a stick, like the stick that's like longer than her, and like race it around our front yard and get away from her people. I'm like, if I had the stamina, time, money, knowledge, I would love to take that baby on. But ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
Also, I'm not really a fan of how I think they've been training her.
No.
Like, I know there's nuance to stuff, but those are neighbors that don't strike me as even knowing the word nuance, let alone having nuance. So,
yeah.
Hi, CDC. Yeah, so I'm not, but sadly, I think it's working because I have not been nose booped in the ass by this dog in weeks. I mean, the first couple times we came across this dog, we we didn't know anything about her. We just knew she kept getting out of her house. Like somehow the door would be left open, or she would something. Door was always open. So
I'm beginning to think that the dog is an escape
artist, maybe so. But she would bark. So her bark was kind of big. I mean, and it was sort of insistent. And we're like, we do not know if this is a friendly dog or not. And then one day we were mowing the lawn, and she gets away from her person and just bumps me in the butt and loved on me, and I loved on her. She did almost ruin a resin job. Like 2 weeks later, she did a butt bump to me again, and I almost had resin go flying everywhere. So, hi, Francis. So, and maybe this dog is in her teenage years too.
Now, I will say, and I think it's kind of a little bit maybe like the situation we have here, because we both know Lola listens better to me than you.
That's very true.
Okay. She does listen to you, but not in the same way.
She's a little selective with it.
Yeah. I think that dog is a little better behaved with her partner.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I mean, the one person she seems to run the hell away from the most and just get away from is really sweet, but not at all firm. Like, I don't believe her. Like, I wouldn't stop. Like, you don't really mean that.
Like, come on.
But I do think that if it were me and my dog was consistently getting away from me, I would figure it the fuck out.
Right?
Oh, that's just me being judgy. Hi, Pinky.
No.
So. And now, is it still raining? Or is it just cloudy out there?
I don't know.
Or is that just the dark film over our window that makes it look...
Maybe all of the above? I'm a little curious now to see if it is.
Oh, gosh.
No, it is not.
No.
It's just overcast.
Overcast. Well, we had rain a little bit ago that actually cooled it down, but then I couldn't be outside when I wanted to be outside in the cooler weather. It was sort of sad. But I have been scandalizing the neighbors because normally any paddle work we do in the garage stays in the garage. So the only time somebody can be scandalized is if they just walk up to our house and walk into our garage or close enough. But we did a special order paddle that we stained black, and then I've got to put a polyurethane coating on it because it doesn't get finished like natural wood does. And so I have to take, doing the staining, I have to take it outside into sunlight to look at it, make sure I'm getting the stain right. And there were city like maintenance people working on a area mowing it, and I'm like, look at this big thing, not on purpose, but like that's what it felt like. And then I, when I'm spraying the poly on it, I have to walk outside of the garage so I do not choke myself on chemicals and fumes. So I'm like, and I have to hold it up and away from my body, and it's just like, hello neighbors who might be walking or driving by. If you wondered what fuckery we do in here, here it is.
Yeah.
So, hi Wendy. And yes.
Yeah, Kim, yes, that is absolutely true that September is a very busy storm month.
And it's also the hottest fucking month.
Yeah.
Because, and I think August is technically...
September here is an extension of August.
Yes. And the problem with September is you get moments where the weather fools you. The temperature doesn't change, but the humidity
drops. Yeah.
And you go, ooh, are we going to get fall? We are not getting fall.
No.
We are being lied to.
It's faux fall. Florida faux fall. Florida faux fall, yeah.
And yet, that does not diminish my excitement that it is pumpkin spice season. Not at all. Not at all. I cannot imagine a cozy sweater or a hot coffee or even closed-toed shoes at this point. But the flavor of a pumpkin spice something in my coffee, I'm here for it.
Yep.
Okay. It is 7 o'clock. We're going to get started.
Nope. Hello, everyone.
Okay. I almost missed it.
It's official.
Yeah, there it is official. Now we can get started because Daddy said so. And what do we do, boys and girls? We just do what Daddy says. I like the expression boys and girls, but it's not a good expression. It's not inclusive enough. Is there an alternative somebody's come up with? I mean, I know y'all. I say y'all all the time. But, like, is there another? Anyway. Okay, so as you can tell from the title, we're doing a Kinky Q&A. The questions came from Instagram because it is just easier to compile the questions on Instagram. That's why we do it that way. That also means for this live stream, we will not have time to take questions from the audience. That's not for this.
We got a lot of questions.
We got a lot of questions, which is so cool. Like, it's so cool. But just for anybody who's like, but I had a question. Our Friday night, once a month, we do a late night live stream and we do a Q&A there. So hopefully that is a time.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da. Okay. If you enjoyed this while you're watching it, we love a thumbs up. If you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing.
And click on that bell and get updates and new content.
Sure. Just do what Daddy says. See, I already told y'all. Just do what Daddy says. Okay. So, go ahead and click the magic button.
Okay.
We do have announcements, but we will get there. Okay. Before we get into the questions, I was like, what are words? Y'all, it's been a long day. It's been a long 2.5 weeks. Technically one big announcement, and we worked really hard to get here, but also a little mini announcement. And podcast listeners who are hearing this on Friday, we already screamed this in your ear a few minutes ago. YouTube folk, this does not apply until Thursday evening, but the Kinkery is about to have a sale. Thekinkery.com, it's linked below. It's a Labor Day sale because the U.S. is going to celebrate Labor Day. That'll be next Monday. We're doing a little sale. We're bringing back a Halloween item that we did last year. More of them this time. So that's happening. And if you are on our email list for the Kinkery, thekinkery.com, you'll get this information. If you follow us on social media at the Kinkery, you'll get this information. But I wanted to slip it in here to let folks know what's happening. But the big one, the one where me, the supposed submissive, laid down the law with JB and said, if we are sponsoring We again this week, you gotta do something. And he did.
I did.
So the We,
because I do what I do.
Sometimes. The We that is sponsoring us is JB's very vanilla wood turning shop on Etsy, where he makes things out of wood that are not kinky. But he let me name it, and it is the Wood Dom. Link is in the places. But the reason I said, if you want us to sponsor us this week and it be vanilla, all these damn cutting boards you have made all this time have to be ready to go and up on the shop. And guess what we did today? We got them on the shop.
Yep.
And so he now has cutting boards. He also has bowls. You have pins. I am forgetting things, even though I am the one who's in charge of your Etsy shop.
Bottle toppers.
All kinds of stuff. Custom order request if there's something you're looking for.
Definitely do custom orders.
But yeah, I'm very excited about the cutting boards. Mostly because I'm looking at them over there, and I'm hoping at some point there are less of them, and we can have space in this office, in this area. So the Wood Dom on Etsy, free shipping for U.S. folk for the cutting boards because they are over the minimum $35. Are we going to ship them to you the cheapest we can? Of course we are, but you ain't gotta pay for it. Right. Okay. So yeah, the Wood Dom. Technically you can go to thewooddom.com and it'll take you to the Etsy shop too, right?
Yes.
So there you go. Yeah, we didn't know when JB started his vanilla shop on Etsy, and actually it was a website before it was an Etsy shop, and we've gone back and forth with this for years now. We didn't know he would one day have a kink shop. No. So he had his reason for liking the name. I wanted it to be the Wood Dom because I wanted a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Yeah. Because who is in charge of the wood? That would be JB. Just saying.
Anywho, there is a little bit of a story behind the name. I'm not going to go into it right now. Probably a good thing for the Friday night hangout at some point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And maybe one of these Friday night hangouts, you can do a vanilla show and tell.
Yeah.
Because we have slowly gotten better at the picture taking. But if you go shopping his shop, you'll be able to tell when we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
And we are slowly fixing it. But we use our iPhones to take pictures of products these days. And I have a very simple editing thing, and that's about it.
I hate to admit it. The poor pictures were on me.
Well, and I've had my share of not so great pictures. Yeah. Etsy now has a tool that will tell you, hey, you could be doing better if, and then you click the button and it'll tell you. And I clicked it today, and it was like, you have a few listings with poor photo image quality. And I was like, I know, I'll get to it. Anyway.
I know. Told me that, too, when I went
Yeah. Thanks, Etsy. Okay. That was the announcement. Okay. Now we're going to answer questions we received from Instagram. Thank you to everybody who submitted your questions. We got so many, we literally cannot answer them all. So some of the ones that we skip over will either be like a Q&A episode later, or you might see it in another form elsewhere. Any legitimate questions, because sometimes there are people who think they are funny, and those are not legitimate questions. But legitimate questions we will try to answer. So here we go.
All right.
What's a good punishment for a brat who doesn't obey? I had to ask it because we got a daddy dom right here. I'm not a brat, but what would you do?
What would I do for a brat that doesn't obey? Whew. You know, I think what I would do, I would find their favoritist thing. Okay? And no.
Oh.
No, you can't have that.
Also, sometimes, and every brat is different, and part of it is you got to have a conversation with said brat to figure out how they tick and what they would consider punishment or not. And they also have to try to not be in the brat mindset when they do it. This needs to be the serious negotiation part. But some brat to get the punishment, and JB has done this to me, and I wasn't bratting, but I was a smart ass, like a dumbass. I was a dumbass who smart ass too close to the sun. And so the punishment was I didn't get the thing that I was clearly going for. So I didn't get the spanking. I didn't get the this. I didn't get the that. Now, how you figure out in general what are good punishments, it is about knowing the other person and what will impact them enough to feel like a punishment that they will consent to. Because you can't just be doing anything willy-nilly to somebody, call it a punishment. If that's a violation, if that would be a violation of their consent, then we're not on punishment anymore. We are on like illegal actions. So stop that. And the thing is we get questions about punishments, mostly punishments, but some about rewards all the time. By the way, we'll have a little thing coming soon-ish in the next few weeks about that. I'm just saying. But the thing about punishment is you can't just think up a punishment as the big D type on your own, never have a conversation with your submissive about it, and just when they do something wrong, just throw it out there. Like it is part of the negotiation, like every other part of your power exchange. So the simple answer is, what's their favorite thing? They can't do it. What were they trying to accomplish by bratting? Were they trying to get a certain reaction from you? Were they trying to get a certain physical activity from you? Then they don't get it. That's the punishment, is they don't get the thing that the bratting was supposed to accomplish. Right. For the brats that will work on. Which is what makes punishment so complicated. They are so personal.
Yeah. I mean, a couple times, too, I've left out your favorite paddle sitting on the bed.
Yep.
And what happened? Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Not a damn thing.
I know. I looked at it and I was like, and I got excited.
Right.
And I knew enough then not to like go, oh, I see what you did. But like I internally got excited. I'm like, okay. And then we moved around that whole bedroom. Because part of it is the way our dynamic works is I'm not going to say anything. You put the thing out there. I just wait for it to be used. And my personality, I know this will shock you, but my personality as a submissive in the moment, I'm not really saying anything. I'm just waiting for it to happen. And I don't want to say anything because I don't want to know too much. That's part of the lack of control that I like. Yeah. And we went about our whole ass business and it just sat there. And it was...
And then it got put away.
Right. And that was when I went, what the hell? What the hell? Okay. Next question. Okay, let's see. How should I ask my dom about seeing him seriously as a romantic partner? Which makes me think that maybe they're just play partners, or it's a platonic thing, or it's casual at best. Now they want it to be something more serious and romantic.
That's tough. That's tough because you cannot make someone feel something for somebody. You know, it's I guess in a way it'd be nice if you could, you know. But,
I think people would use that power for evil instead
right,
of good.
Right. I mean, you know, I think the best thing you can do is talk to them.
Well, yeah, you have
to. You have to talk to them and let them know, you know, that you are developing feels and you want more.
And I think before you talk to them, one, you have to decide what you think you will feel, because you won't know what you feel until you're in the moment. But how you think you'll handle it if they do not reciprocate, right? Like, are you able to continue as things have been? Are you comfortable with that? Is that what you want? Are you willing to? If they reject this idea. And you also have to be prepared that they may reject the idea enough that, you know, maybe they don't want to continue forever, but the way things were, and keep that going. So it's a tricky one. I'm here for just clear, blunt ass communication, but you know, I think it's still a delicate situation. I think sometimes we get wrapped up in our own heads about it, and we're worried that they're not on the same page as us, and so it's going to be awkward. And then you have the conversation and they are on the same page. And sometimes it just goes sideways. And before you have that conversation, I think regardless of how you get to that point, you're ready to have that conversation. I think you have to have be really clear to yourself how you will handle, and be as prepared as it is possible to be when you are dealing with hypotheticals for, you know, is it so good that the end of this casual thing or this non-romantic thing would be very disappointing and you might be heartbroken and this would really suck? Or is it like, I can't even see myself moving forward to this or doing if we can't go to the next step? And sometimes at the end of it, you might still get your heart broken, and heartbreak fucking sucks. But I would rather be done with a person who is not right for me and deal with the pain of the heartbreak, and then be free to go find the person who is right for me. So it's delicate, it's complicated. Yeah, but yeah, you just have to have the conversation. I think what we would consider typical communication kind of best practices apply here. So you don't spring it on them when it's in a busy moment. You literally say, hey, there's some things I'd like to talk about. Can we set aside a time? Can we meet? Can we get a coffee? Can we call? Like, however you normally communicate, right? And plan the time so that they are focused on you and you can have this conversation. You also have to be prepared for them to need time to go away and think about it. If they're not sure of what they want to do, you know, you got to give them that time and let them come back to you. Right. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just take the leap. If the way things are going, it's unsustainable to you because you really want to go to the next level, then just do it. If you're kind of happy where you're at and you're like, no, I'm not, this can go longer. Maybe feel them out. Maybe I like to do the ask hypothetical questions. What if we imagine something you think y'all would do as a romantic couple, right? Could you imagine if we ever fill in the blank? And their response will sometimes be all the information you need about whether to actually tell them outright.
There you
go. Okay. How can I find the deepest kinks of my partner?
The deepest kinks. You know what? Sit down and do a checklist.
Yeah, we have one for free if you subscribe to our newsletter, but you can also literally Google BDSM checklist. They will come up.
I think that's the best way to, you know, find out a lot of things. You know, or even bring it up in conversation. You know, what do you think about such and such? You know,
right. Also, define for yourself what you think deepest kinks mean. Are they the kinks that are the kind of stuff they're not ready to admit to themselves? Is that what you think? If you think your partner has those kinds of kinks, are they kinks that they hint at, but they are not ready to move forward in a conversation with? Do you just believe that there must be more than what they're telling you? You know, some of that's a time thing. Deepest kinks is a little, there's a reason I put this in here. It's a little, can't think of the words I want to describe it, but basically, if I could find other words to describe what I mean, it's like assuming that what your partner is telling you are their kinks, that there's something else underlying, or that these kinks are okay kinks, but somewhere inside of them are better, more meaningful kinks. And maybe that's true, but maybe they know what they like today. They know what they're into, they're interested in, they're willing to do. And they might over time discover that there are other things they're into, but they can't discover them until they explore what they're into right now. And that does not invalidate finding new kinks down the road, does not invalidate the early day kinks that maybe air quotes seem easier from your perspective or less intense, or like my first thing is, before you can find out what their quote deepest kinks are, what do you mean by that? What are you searching for? Are you looking for the secret stuff that most people won't admit to somebody else yet? Well, that is time, trust, honesty, integrity. You got to build a relationship. Somebody's got to be real comfortable with you to tell sometimes their deepest, darkest ones that they're afraid they might be rejected for, or they feel are too taboo, or they're not ready to. And
there is something that you want to be careful about, because what you don't want to do is, you know, if you do get them to open up about, you know, something like that, you know, do not be judgmental.
Right.
Okay? Do not react in a judgmental way.
Exactly. So yeah, think about what you mean by deepest kinks. And if you're thinking, oh, well, they're doing these basic things, but I'm sure there's something else. You might be right that there will be something else, but that's not really for you to pull out of them. That is for them to develop enough trust with you and willingness and safety to be vulnerable with you, to let that out when they're ready, when they figure it out, right? There are things that were real easy for me to be like, heck yeah, I'm down for spanking, I'm down for submission, let's do this thing. And then other things I had to come to gradually over time as I got more comfortable to even go, oh yeah, I'm kind of turned on by that, or oh yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by that. And then I could only tell a partner that if we had developed the relationship where I knew I was safe to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say is do some deep thinking about what you think deepest means. And then if you want to know what their internal world is, you got to earn their trust and really earn their trust. Not do that fake shit that some people do of, I'm going to say all the right things so they'll tell me anything, but I don't actually like be legit and fucking earn it. Earn that information from them.
Oh yeah.
That's what that is. Okay.
All right.
How do you deal with a dom who has a different love language from you? Oh, I had thoughts. So if you feel, go ahead, please, because I know I suck up all the oxygen.
Go ahead, because I need to think about that one for a minute.
I thought so, because here's the thing. First of all, love languages. We've done episodes on love languages in the past, the deep past. They are inherently flawed because, like a lot of personality things, they can't cover everything. But in general, the way a love language works is it's meant to be when you know your partner's love language, that is then how they want to receive love and affection and attention from you. So you can have different love languages, but if you're going to follow the love languages model, which is imperfect, like super imperfect, but it's there, whatever, then knowing each other's love languages is important as long as you're willing to act on what their love language is. If they respond more to attention, I think it is, but that's not your love language. Quality time. Then you have to decide for yourself, are you willing to give them the thing that speaks to them, that feels like love to them? Doesn't matter if you're different, as long as you're willing to do things that you wouldn't necessarily want for yourself, but that they want. Now, the flaw in the love languages, there's many flaws, but one of the flaws is that recently I watched a video on this where the person was saying essentially those 5 classifications of love languages, with exceptions because there's no universal, nearly every human responds at different points in life from different people to all of those love languages, right? So we can rank them all day long, but there are times I want quality time or I want physical touch, and I'm not really a physical touch kind of person, right? There's times I want acts of service, even though as a submissive, I tend to get deeply uncomfortable with acts of service provided to me, right? So, take the love languages thing with a grain of salt, but if you are going to follow it as a model for how you interact in your relationship, it does not matter that you have different love languages. Are you willing to do what they're saying their love languages and that would be meaningful to them? Are they willing to give you the kind of whatever it is your love languages that speaks to you? That's if you're going to follow it, that's what that means. Knowing them doesn't mean shit if then the partner you have goes, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care what your love language is. So that's what I think on that. I've been thinking about this ever since I saw that one come in.
Nope, I'm good. I'm going to defer to you on this one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You did fine.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Okay, let's go to some more here.
Okay.
I think this one is a more simplistic answer than they realize. I wonder if you will have that immediate thought that I had. How to negotiate with an avoidant dominant partner. I don't feel safe, but he avoids accountability. The answer was in the last sentence, but go ahead, please say it.
Run.
I'm sorry. I do not trust not nary a person who calls himself a dominant if they can't be held accountable.
That's right.
If they can't admit wrongdoing, if they can't say they're sorry, if they can't change their behaviors, if they can't do the things that they say they're going to do, if they can't earn trust and maintain trust, and
Yeah, no, that's no. If someone is unable to have accountability
or be held accountable,
or be held accountable, let's face it, that can be a very dangerous thing. In the things that we do. Okay, so
that's easy.
Run.
So I'm not we did an episode on avoidant and a couple of those other. It's one of those things, we did the episode, the information went into my brain. I said what I had to say, the information is now gone from my brain, so I don't remember as much. But the thing, my basic memories and limited understanding of the avoidant and the anxious and the blah, 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 we can all be some version of that and sometimes combinations of that and all that. And those can be truths about who we are. Like our instinct maybe is to be avoidant. Our instinct is to be an anxiously attached partner. But it's, what are you willing to do to work through that to the best of your ability? Sometimes you need therapy for that. Sometimes it's like outside stuff. You got to work through shit. But when you want to call yourself, in this case, we're talking power exchange, the dominant partner who is in control and takes control and has power and has authority and whatever that you're granting as a submissive, and they refuse to do anything about the fact that they are avoidant and their avoidance is making them a bad dom, then it's not about them being avoidant. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's about being a bad dom, a dangerous person, somebody who is not safe to play with. And for you to say, I don't feel safe, that is all that you need. Sometimes it's somebody not feeling safe. There's miscommunication somewhere, but sometimes it is your intuition screaming at you. Just listen to that voice. Every once in a while, you'll look back on it and go, well, maybe I wasn't really unsafe in the moment. I know more now. But it don't matter. In this moment, you feel unsafe. That's information. Use it.
Yeah.
Use it. Okay, next one.
All
right. We have definitely answered this one before, but I know it comes up from time to time, so we'll do it again. Any suggestions for incorporating power exchange into a relationship when out in public?
Yes.
All kinds of things.
All kinds of, I mean, we do that and have been doing that.
Because sometimes that's the only way we can express our power exchanges in ways nobody can clock.
Exactly. One of the things is, even though Kayla is the submissive in the relationship. When we go out, she's not allowed to touch door handles.
Right, you're holding the door for me.
I
See, it's cis heteronormative appearing, so all of the little old ladies think that is just the sweetest thing, and yet they would probably not think it was so sweet if roles were reversed or if it did not look so air quote normal.
She always, when we're out, she walks on my right side.
There was a time period, I think it was deep in pandemic days, like we weren't holed up in the house anymore, but we didn't linger anywhere that we went. I remember walking through a Starbucks parking lot, and things had gotten way off between us. There was a deep disconnect, and I was willing to walk on the side that I'm supposed to walk on, but somebody was making it difficult, maybe on purpose, maybe not. I was whining about it. I was huffing and puffing. Next thing I know, in the parking lot, y'all, I feel a hand in my hair, and I get yanked over to the correct side. So if you think walking in a specific location in comparison to your partner can't be power exchange, well, talk to me when you get yanked back into position by your damn hair. In a parking lot, y'all. It was empty. JB is aware of his surroundings. It was fine.
Yeah.
I am your coffee slut. So when we used to go out to eat, for breakfast and stuff, if you order a coffee, I put the cream and sugar in. Now, does it confuse servers? Yes. We don't give a fuck because it's not anything that is like a consent violation. It's just a person making their coffee, right?
Right.
But so it's little things. And to do this, if it's a part of your power exchange and it's not outward kinks like being walked on a leash and the stuff that's kind of noticeable and you're purposely looking for something that people can't clock, you're gonna have to think kind of deep about how does your power exchange work in private. For us, I think it feels easier. I am a service submissive. So if my daddy says, do this thing for me, I'm in subby heaven, right? So we can find things that I, quote, do for him that don't look like anything. When we are around family. And it's it's heteronormative. It's Southern, stuff that, the women are serving the men. That's less common than it once was, but it's still old school, and I am one of the youngest in the family, so it's old school in my family. And so when we're at a family gathering, the fact that I make JB's plate for him and bring it to him, everybody thinks I'm just a good Southern wife. No, I'm being a good submissive because that's what my daddy told me to do, right? It's those kinds of things. You have to think about things that you either are already doing or could be doing that other people would not even, they're just not even going to notice because it's just part of the norm for them, or but it's meaningful to you.
I mean, one of the other things she does is when we go and get in the car and go somewhere, she gives me my sunglasses, puts my regular glasses away.
We even have, this helps, we're very routine oriented people, so once we do something twice, we have to do it forever. I get the cart quarter out when we go to Aldi.
Yep.
JB has never had to get his own cart quarter ever since we started going to Aldi. Also, when he loads up the car, because I put everything in the cart and I load the conveyor and I pay. That's not a submissive thing. That's a control freak part of me. Because
she has a very special way how she loads the belt.
And even though it's Aldi and it doesn't fucking matter. I got away. Just let me do it. So JB unloads the cart, puts everything in the car motor.
Yeah.
But what I do every time, unless I'm not feeling good, I take the cart back and go retrieve our cart quarter. This man has almost never had to do anything with a cart quarter in his life. I have made the cart quarter my bitch. Okay.
What's a cart quarter?
Right.
Yeah.
How do I do this at Aldi? And it really is little things that they just have to have meaning to you. They are not specific to JB and Kayla and how we are. It's things that we discovered that I could, again, I'm a service submissive. This makes it a little easier. Are there things I can do for JB that just look like I'm a nice human being and I'm a nice wife? Okay. Are there things I can do that just look like I'm, quote, taking my turn, but really I'm doing it because that's an expectation that JB set? Yeah. Certain control things like walking on a certain side or, never touching a door handle, which is it's not never. I mean, we use common sense. If JB's hands are full, I'm going to open a door. We would look real foolish standing at a door, me going, I'm sorry, I can't touch them.
Right.
I'm sassy. I'm not bratty, y'all. Okay.
Thin line.
That would not end well if I tried that shit.
Thin line.
So, yeah, you just, it's one of those things that's, anybody can share ideas, and if any resonate, feel free, use them, try them. But it really is like kind of pay attention to the things that you're already doing. Can you give those things meaning and set them, like negotiate them in your power exchange so that then they really do have the meaning and they're officially part of this is what we do in public. We do not, however, have some rule that I have to walk behind him. That would not, I mean, I do sometimes because I'm walking slower. I used to be a fast walker, not anymore. And we don't have the rule that I don't have to speak. That would not work.
No.
That would just never have worked. But some people do. Some people do.
If she had to keep that all in, she'd explode.
Because what would happen is if it was you don't speak in public unless I give you permission, the moment we got to the car, he wouldn't be able to handle it. I couldn't handle it. I got thoughts. I got opinions.
I'd need earplugs.
And quite frankly, I know there are power exchange folks who do that in their relationship. And your kink is not my kink. Your kink is okay. I am deeply uncomfortable with it as a female submissive because of, living in a misogynistic patriarchal society where women are supposed to shut up anyway. So even I don't like it when,
I mean,
personally, but everybody else can do what they want. Okay. I'm going to do a shameless promotion question. I appreciate this question this person asked.
Okay.
Do you have any new goals / merchandise that you want to do for your shop?
Yes.
And you know what's funny? In my mind, we have two shops because we have the Kinky, which is like, it's our bread and butter. We're here for the Kinky.com. But we also have our Etsy shop.
Yes.
And the Kinky is your baby for all that I am deeply involved and help in it. Yeah. The Etsy shop is my baby.
True.
So, do you have anything about the Kinky? Because I do have a thing about the Etsy shop. Don't worry.
Okay. Sometimes I have more ideas than I have time. Okay.
Yep.
But I have been, and I been thinking about plugs made with resin.
Butt plugs.
Yeah.
Okay. Just gonna be real clear there.
Well,
These are clear communication.
Okay.
Anal plugs. Let's just kill the monetization.
Yeah. YouTube doesn't like us already, so it may as well, just twist the knife.
So yeah,
that is something I've been noodling about doing.
You had, I know you're probably not ready to talk about it. You had a really cool idea for a paddle that was based on a special order request that you did. We did it the way we can do it now. And JB's like, yeah, this is fine. This is what they asked for. But I know what I could do to make it more sadistic and look even better. And I was like, well, I hope you can make that happen. I just like it when your creative juices are flowing.
Yeah.
Like, lifes, and when the creative juices stop flowing, it sucks because you're like, you feel stagnant. And yeah, I like it when, I like it when your juices are flowing in general, but that's another conversation. Anyway.
So, there's that. And, I'm going to be changing up the paddles that I do, wood burning on. I'm going to be using a different style of paddle, totally different from any of the ones that I've done thus far, and got them ready to go. And
now you started working on a thing I desperately want you to put out, those very round, dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all a time thing. So.
I did start on a bunch of them, yeah.
But we're at a point now you can't give me 5 and let me call that a launch. Like early days of the Kinky, if I had 5, I would have those for 3 months.
Right.
These days, we don't do a launch with less than 15 or 20 or something. And that's still us being small. So yeah, he's got to make a whole lot more before I can do a launch.
And on and off, I do, kind of one-off paddles here and there whenever I can, whenever I have the, and recently I made one.
I tickle I amuse myself at the name I gave it. But go ahead.
Basically, it looked like a sword. I made it to look like a sword, and I really liked it. It's time consuming to make.
Yeah.
And it probably will never become like a regular stock item.
No.
But from time to time, it's probably gonna.
Yeah, he
pop
liked
up.
it so much he made a template for it. That's how you know he wants to make it again. And so, of course, I got the practice swats. It hurts like a motherfucker. It's another one of those if a cane and a paddle had a baby kind of situations.
Yeah.
And so I like it when we have creative names. We do not have creative names for all of our products.
Came up with a good one.
Some of our products are just boring old names because I'm not that smart. But this one, I wanted it to be clearly about a sword, but I was like, but it needs to be about pain. And so instead of Excalibur, it's Excaliburn. Because that pain was a burning pain. I just want you to know. And a lovely Kinkster ordered it, and it's been sent off to its new home.
Yep.
So anything else you want to say about the Kinky?
I think that's
okay. So
pass to you.
I have two goals for the Etsy shop, and I started making one of them happen literally the day before you started recording / streaming. So I want to add more workbooks. I have one ready to go, a workbook. But the timing is weird because of other things going on that will make more sense in a couple of weeks. But I also wanted to do, with zero drawing capabilities out, I wanted to do BDSM coloring books. Now, I didn't want like people tied up. There are people who make those because they're artists and they can draw. I cannot. I wanted to do something fun. So I put on our Etsy shop just today our first coloring book. And it is going to be one of a series because it's, so I would say yes, daddy, and daddy would say good girl. I did a series of yes, sir, yes, ma'am, yes, whatever. And then good girl, good boy. And it's not an exhaustive list. So I'm going to do several of them in this style so that I can get more, honorifics and titles and labels in there to be as inclusive as possible. But yeah, that's coloring books and digital coloring books like PDFs you can download and print them out, and workbooks. That's my goal for the Etsy shop. I want to do more physical products, but I have to design those, and that just gives me like, it just, oh god, I get so much resistance and friction in myself with that. So we're doing digital products. Okay. Next question that is not shameless self-promotion. Best way to explain planning a scene to someone new. Like someone's new and you're I'm gathering, you're trying to explain to them, hey, we plan scenes and here's like, how do I tell somebody this is not organic fucking where we just like fall into each other's bits and pieces. We're going to plan this shit out. How do you explain planning a scene to someone new?
Wow. How would slowly. You would, I think you would have to be prepared for a lot of questions.
I think you come with an example of what a scene might look like, and I think you start with the basic one if somebody's super new and they don't have a clue, and then you kind of backtrack it and go, okay, here's the scene. Let me tell you how this gets planned out, right? Yeah. We're going to talk about what we're both into. We're going to get really detailed about, this is a sensation I want to feel. How intense of a sensation? How light of a sensation? With, like, we'll use spanking as the example. Just my hand? Do you want to try a toy? Okay, we can try a toy. You've never tried a toy before? Not a problem. Here's how we will test that toy. I will hit it lightly on your leg. I will hit it on your forearm. And I will hit your butt, right? And you literally break it down step by step. And then you're going to talk about how it's going to stop if they don't like how something feels. And is that going to be safe words or are we just going to rely on the word no? Yeah. And I think you explain it like an alien has arrived on the planet, does not know what this is, and you're having to like paint a picture for them. I think that is going to be there's probably not a one and done conversation. No. I have a feeling it's multiple conversations over time. And I think that if if it's something that they seem to grasp pretty quickly, and you can now have a back and forth conversation where they're asking questions that make sense, and it seems like they're grasping it, you can move that forward a little bit more quickly. But if they're like, this is foreign to me, I cannot, then you're going to break it down to really little bitty pieces, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
So, anything else you want to say about that? Okay. Another shameless promotion one, but also you can answer this in ways I can't, okay? And not just our promotion one.
Okay.
What BDSM Discord server do you enjoy? Also, do you have any recommendations to join? I'll do the shameless self-promotion. You do like what you can talk about with what you know.
Okay.
Shameless self-promotion, we have a Discord server. You have to be a member of our Patreon and be in that part of the community to get access to it. You can join for as little as $2 a month. You get a whole bunch of extra content, extra podcast episode, extra video, extra live stream. Plus, if you go above the $2 minimum in each tier, you get little perks. So, ta-da, we have a server. It's literally the Loving BDSM Discord server, but it is only accessible when you join our Patreon. Okay, you are a member of other kinky Discord servers.
Well,
you used to be.
I used to be.
Okay.
I used to be. I scaled way back.
It got overwhelming.
It got to be too much. With all the plates I'm juggling.
Sure. You don't ever turn your notifications off. I don't have a single one on. And I would just watch the Discord notifications just roll in on your iPad some days. Oh my God, I'm stressed.
Now, that was one of the things that I did end up doing. First, for any other server I was in, I turned off notifications. I just left it on for our server. But yeah, it's been a long time.
You were in. Now, the ones that you were in, did you have to be vetted first? Did you have to be invited, or could you just join?
Most of them were ones that you had to be vetted for.
And I think that's a good practice, quite frankly.
Yeah. And I mean, it was point that you had to, like, a photo with your driver's license.
Oh, wow.
For some of them.
Okay. Good for them.
Black out the address. They didn't want to see that, but
right.
they wanted to see some sort of valid,
like, you're really a person and you're a legal adult.
Yep.
And quite frankly, those are the kinds I would look for. It's not going to be perfect where you're going to love that server when you get in there. But when there's a certain responsibility taken by the people who are, overseeing that server, that would make me feel a lot better. Do you happen to remember the names of any of them? Or still have them in your...
Yeah. One of them was the Duchy, but that was through a, that's only through a...
Subscription. When you were subscribed to the Duchy, yeah.
Give me a second here. I know I can give you at least one of them.
He's getting into his Discord.
The rest of them I pretty much got rid of. BDSM Loft.
Okay, BDSM Loft.
LOFT. Okay, that was a fantastic server.
Okay.
The person who runs it does an excellent job. They have moderators on the server. They have a lot of different activities that they do, which is great, and very, very friendly folks on there.
Yeah, I remember you talking about some of the different activities. I feel like sort of very. I don't know how to describe myself as the person with the server. I'm not good at small talk and chit chat, so I don't really say much until I got something to say, which is why I'm usually in the rant room if I've got something to say. But I'm always kind of there, kind of looking around. I often feel guilty that we do not do more in the server. But also I don't know where I would pull that time from, and so but it, everybody else thankfully is holding their own with the conversations,
and Kim brought up Pink Kink.
Oh, does Pink Kink have okay, I didn't know Rara had a Discord. Okay, is that through their Is that through any membership thing of theirs?
That I do not know.
I would go to the Pink Kink.
Mm-hmm.
Is it pinkkink.com or pinkkinkpodcast.com? Google Pink Kink Podcast. They have a website.
Yep.
Go learn about their Discord. Highly recommend anything Rara does. Okay. I want to answer this one question, but it's another shameless promotion one. I want to answer like some actual, like...
Okay.
Here. Some of these are like complicated. We need like video. We need like video time to answer some of these.
Okay.
Here's a common one. How to be open about my kinks to my significant other.
Ooh.
Yup.
That's tough. That is tough. Yeah, because that can be a crapshoot sometimes.
I am a big fan of the hypotheticals. Like, hypothetically, I heard about this thing, and then insert one of your own kinks.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
What do you think about this? Yeah.
And if they don't necessarily have to be like full-throated acceptance, enthusiasm, open arms, right? They don't have to be that way. As long as the response to a hypothetical is not pure judgment and disgust.
Or, no, God,
I can't imagine anything about kink, right? Like that. As long as it's not that, you probably have an inroad to actually just have the conversation.
You know, if it's, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's okay if it's indifference. It's okay if it's pure ignorance or like, I don't know anything about that. That you can work with that. What you can't work with is disgust, disdain, judgment, like that kind of stuff. So that's the thing you're looking for with a hypothetical.
I think what helps too when you have those conversations is not to say, "Hey, I found this thing and I it's really cool and I want to try this. What do you I that to me is kind of the wrong way to go about it, because that puts then pressure on the other person.
To me, the only time you really have the space for that is if you know where they stand on things. Y'all are already on the same page about stuff.
I mean, I would do that with you.
Sure. Because I might tell you I am not interested in that, but I'm not going to judge you for it. We're not going to break up over it. Like
no.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's where it comes in, how you do the presentation of, hey, I came across this thing, and have you ever heard of this? And it sounds interesting, but
right. Silent makes a point in the live chat, that talking about X used to be in the no yucky camp too. Here's the thing: there's a difference between I don't like that versus why would anybody? I think it's a vibe check, right? And quite frankly, if the vibe you're getting from a partner you really care about and love is no, gross, it might just mean it's not the time now.
Right.
Or that's not the kink to start with, right? Y'all, JB has been in kink for literal fucking decades, and the first time I mentioned, did he think he could be a daddy dom? I thought he could be a daddy dom. What do you think about it? He laughed his fucking ass off. Like I had just said, well, what I'd like you to actually do is go walk on the moon tonight. He was like pure like, what the fuck are you even talking about? He's a mature soul, so he wasn't judgy about it, but he thought it was impossible. And I'm over here going, I don't think it's impossible, but so him laughing like that, I was like, okay, we will not go down this road together right now. That's not where his head is at, right? But because everything else was still good, I didn't think, oh no, I can never talk to him about this again. Yeah. And then here he is now, a total daddy dom. There is a vibe check to it, right? Like here's the thing, if you're trying to tell a partner about kinks and you start with a hypothetical and their reaction makes you feel like you can't really talk to them about it now, ever, or just not yet, then that's information. You just maybe don't talk to them about it yet. I think depending on the type, how long you've been together, the nature of your relationship, how strong it is without any kink, like if you feel really confident in this relationship, I think you can bring kink up in a different way later, a few weeks, few months, whatever. Because there are all kinds of ways to approach a conversation. But if you want to test the temperature of, can I tell my partner I'm fucking kinky? their immediate reaction to a hypothetical is a lot of information.
Right. Yep.
Doesn't mean you have to break up. It just might mean, okay, that we're not talking about that right now.
Yep. And
So.
and you never know. Sometimes too, bringing that up, even if it's, turned away at that point, you still may have planted a seed.
Yep.
You still may have planted a seed.
If you mentioning kinks does not immediately have them go, oh my God, yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you. Can I share my own kink with you? Right. If it doesn't immediately result in that, it doesn't mean it's never going to happen. It just means it might be a very slow moving ship. Right. Yeah. And then patience is called for it. And we all know how I feel about that word. But it really does fucking work most of the time, which is really annoying because I really hate having to be patient. So, yeah, you might plant the seed. You might see organic opportunities later where you can maybe bring up the kink. Now, the question you have to decide for yourself, and you don't have to decide right away, but you need to be thinking about is this desire for kink important enough for me to find a partner who wants to do this with me, right? And everybody's a little different about it. I'm at a point now, first of all, JP's not going no damn where, okay? He's stuck. Sorry, sucks to be you. You're here with me till the bitter fucking end. Thelma and Louise. But if I had to go find my husband again, they're gonna have to be kinky. It's non-negotiable, right? I am non-monogamous in theory, not in practice, but I need that person to be kinky. I don't know what flavor of kink they need to be, but they better be kinky,
Something, right?
I know that is not going to work for me because you're either going to come into this kinky or I am going to turn you. There will be kink. It will just happen. Other people are like, with a right partner, yeah, I want that, but I can not do kink and be really happy with this partner. So that's the thing to decide, not just how you think they might react, but is this person somebody you want to be with even if you can never do kink with them? And there's no right answer.
No.
There's no right answer at all. Okay, let's see. I feel like there's no good answer to this one, but we're going to do this one and then the last little, it's not promotional, but a us question, and then we're going to be done.
Okay.
How can you tell when a man is genuinely a real daddy dom and not just a poser? Ain't that the fucking question of all kink? Right? How can you tell if that's a real, what they say they are and not just a poser?
That is something that, time will tell.
Sure.
Okay. You have to look for certain traits. Are they nurturing? Do they follow through with the things that they say they're going to do? Do they actually seem to care about you on some level? Right.
It doesn't have to be I'm in love with you, want to be with you forever care, but do they care about you as a human being?
And that's a good point. A good daddy dom or caregiver needs to have empathy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And these are things that you are going to see in a person as you spend more time with them.
Right, because they can say anything. It's not, who cares? It's about what they do, and it's not about what they do one time. It's about what they do consistently.
Yeah.
Because a poser can pretend one time, but they can't usually keep it up over the long term. That's what she said.
Yeah.
So you have to, and it's a stage thing. You start with what they say, right? And if you're getting a feeling like something doesn't feel right, please, I'm desperate for everybody to listen to that "this doesn't feel right" voice. Sometimes you'll be wrong, but most of the time you won't. It's okay. So you listen to what they say. Does it align with how the kind of, in this case, daddy dom that person wants, or the kind of partner you're looking for? Whatever your philosophy about kink and BDSM is. And when I mean philosophy, I sort of mean how do you want to move through kink? I'm going to tell you, I believe communication needs to be the most important thing, right? But I'm also going to add nuances like being vulnerable, and for somebody trying to show that they're actually a decent dom, being able to admit wrongdoing and being able to apologize, and being able to be told that they're wrong. Like, they're gonna say things, and you start there, and if the vibes are good with what they say, then you start paying attention to what they do. And again, anybody can do the right thing one fucking time. That's an overtime thing.
But it's the long term. And
sometimes, not always, sometimes our intuition will scream at us when they do the thing, because we're like, something about that ain't right. So, nope, I'm not vibing with that. And sometimes it's a personal preference thing, and sometimes it's your instinct screaming at you that this is not real and this person is faking. Doesn't matter. You can have a conversation about it. You can go, it was nice to meet you. I'm going to go have my own life over here. Like, whatever you want to do. And it's a stage thing. It's why we caution every fucking body to start really fucking slow. I get that it's super exciting to find a dom who says all the right things and is like hitting you right in your little subby feels. But it can be extremely dangerous to then just jump into a full-on scene or jump into a full-on power exchange negotiation when you've known this person either actually 5 minutes or the equivalent of 5 minutes, right? 2 conversations don't make a power exchange, okay?
No.
So that's a little bit of it. Like, if you are willing... I'm sorry.
That's okay. The other thing I was going to say, if this person is a part of the community, what do other people in the community think about them? And
we've talked about this with vetting before. If they are... Because some people will proclaim themselves parts of communities, right? They'll go, I go to this munch. I'm in this group. I'm in here. Okay. Make a list. What group? What munch? Where do you go? Okay. Now, does that have a presence on FetLife? If that group, organization, community munch has then you are going to DM whoever is like the host of that group on FetLife and go, do you know this person? Is there anything you can tell me about him? That is... It's not as common today in the 21st century as it was in the 1900s, y'all. But God damn, I hate saying that. But vetting is absolutely still a part of the BDSM experience, and there are plenty of community organizers who are not going to bat an eye to get that DM or to have somebody come up to them in a munch and go, "This person says that they're part of this community. Do you know them? What can you tell me anything about them?" Because what you'll find out is, did you just catch them in a lie and that they're not known by anybody, or are they known but they are like on the watch list? Yes, that exists in communities where sometimes people are allowed to go to events so people can watch them and make sure they're not doing dangerous shit. Yeah. And there's a whole conversation to be had about whether that's the right thing. Yeah. And then sometimes you find out, and this was true with JB, that they are exactly who they say they are. And people have great respect for them. Now, that is not always 100%. People can have great respect for somebody who is actually shitty, but...
Yeah. And there are more and more communities. I know there are several communities near us and also other parts of the state where, to keep the members safe, they actually do background checks.
Sure. We're trying to be a vendor at a thing later in September, and we are going through a background check, which I don't have a problem with, but I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Because not every community does that.
Right.
Also fine, but it's like...
But there are more and more doing that now. To keep people
and
safe.
Again, a background check only tells you so much, but you want to know what I take as information to pay attention to? How do they respond to the fact that they need to do a background check? And are they willing to tell you why maybe they don't really want a background check? Now, sometimes people have shit in their background that they just don't want to talk about. To a certain extent, that's fine. I'm not going to tell somebody that you got to tell me all your damn secrets on the first day. But if I'm a submissive and you're a dom and you don't want the dungeon where we can go play in as safe a way as possible, which air quote all of that, and you won't even do that, well, that tells me as an individual submissive, I can't be playing with you.
And that is another good point to bring up too that I want to mention real quick. You meet somebody a lot of times in this day and age, you meet online, and one of the first things, hey, especially when you get to the point you want to meet, well, there's the munch happening at such and such a day at such and such a time. let's meet there. You know, if they kind of balk about meeting
you.
at a munch, that's kind of a flag.
And here's the thing, because somebody's going to go, but you don't know. Somebody might have a reason they don't want to. Okay. That's fine. You can have your individual reason why you don't want to do something. But if my intuition is screaming at me, and I have decided that a precursor to being able to be with somebody to decide if they are a real legit person I want to get kinky with is, these are the things I need from you, and you're not willing to do it, that is information for me to make a decision. So if it sounds like trying to figure out if somebody is a poser is hard work, you're right. It is. It is. And the people I find who are willing, this is not universally true, but the people I find who are most willing to do it tend to be the ones who have had to like deal with a poser when maybe from a submissive side, they were in sub frenzy. Some douche said like 3 of the right words to them, and they kind of jumped in with both feet and didn't really think about it. Those folks, they are taking their time next time. And I wish they didn't have to get hurt to get to that point. Yeah. But I'm glad they're taking their time. It's anybody can say anything. So it's not what they say, it's what they do. And it's what they do over time.
Actions.
And if they are telling you that there are other people who can vouch for them, then go see if those people will really vouch for them, right? Like, what would they say about them if they're not standing there, right? And again, none of this is foolproof. You can do all of the air quote right things and still be lied to, still be manipulated, still get, a person who just played this really long fucked up game with you. But these are the best ways to...
Anything can happen, but, you need to do your best to protect yourself.
Right.
Yes.
And it's all you can do. And at some point, it's a leap of faith. Yeah. You have gathered as much information as you can. You have observed as much as you can. Yeah. You are making the best judgment you can in the moment with the information you have. Are you willing to take a little bit of a leap of faith? Yeah. And a leap of faith does not mean... We talked online 3 times. I kind of vetted you, and now I am alone in a back alley room, tied up, and you're throwing knives at me, okay? It's like, we're going to start with a little scene and a little kink and maybe a little power exchange. We're going to start really, really small. Yeah. Because that's how you test the waters. And then the thing, and I have been ranting about this probably since 2015. Not everybody knows how to listen to their instincts. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of shit people go through where they don't trust themselves. Here's the thing. Not trusting yourself doesn't mean that there's not some part of your physical being that's reacting and responding. You just don't trust it. So I would rather people be overly cautious and maybe let a decent partner slip through their fingers because they listened to some internal part of themselves that went, something doesn't feel right. Right? Like I don't want people to have the kind of trust issues I have, but I want some folks to have a few more trust issues than they do. Trust but verify. You know what I mean? So, last question that has nothing to do with any of this, but is the last one because I was like, this is fun. They said, I am new to the podcast and curious. Why are the listeners called crickets? I was expecting to get why do you hate this fucking handle so much? Right. We've answered that one a few times. We've answered this one a few times, but we'll answer again. So,
it's been a while, I think. So, go ahead.
Early-ish days of the podcast. Early enough that it's not so early that it was just me. It was when JB was finally part of the episodes as well. I don't know if y'all can tell. I'm a rambler. Okay? This train of thought, there are many tracks. They diverge. Okay? We got change stations or whatever the fuck they're called all over the place, right? So what was happening is we would be trying to talk about a topic, and I would get veered off and spend a few minutes talking about something else. And a person who had been listening from the very beginning, they were very kind. I don't handle unasked for criticism well, but this time I was in the right frame of mind. They messaged me on FetLife and went, I love your podcast. I love the topics, but you were killing me with these side stories. But I always wanted to shoot at the side stories because, the way my brain works, they were all relevant. If your brain doesn't work that way, you might not see the relevance, but in my mind they were. But they were also things I wanted to share with people because we would be talking about a part of power exchange and it would make me think of something kind of semi-related that I wanted to share. So what we did was we started I'm not always... Excalibur, that's a good one. Ass Beater, that's a paddle name, good one. The bonus section is not a good name. I'm not usually good with names, okay? It's the bonus section, and what would happen, the way it started, was every little like side story I wanted to say in the middle of a topic, I would somehow, I think I was just jotting notes down, try to remember it, and we would get to the end of the episode, we would say our goodbyes, and then we would go into the bonus section, and I would talk about whatever had popped into my fucking mind that I could still remember in this bonus section. And it mostly wasn't about kink. It still is not hardly ever about kink. In the first few weeks of that, maybe first few months, I would say to JB, I am sure that nobody is here listening to this. Why would anybody listen to this part? This is not about the topic. I am sure we are just talking to crickets. Okay? That's where it started. And then, this is when I was still on Twitter before it really fucking sucked. We had somebody who tweeted at us and went, hey, I'm listening to the bonus section. I'm a hashtag proud cricket.
And there,
I know.
there it was.
A merchandising and branding opportunity when I see it. And truly, the Patreon community is the Proud Cricket community. Every coupon code we give, Proud Cricket. The tiers are related to crickets. I went all fucking in. A fan who's an artist gifted us some artwork and said, you know, you can use it in whatever you want. I just never sell it. I like if I do anything with their artwork that they've granted me permission to do with it, it's like freebies for the patrons or whatever. But it was cricket stuff, like crickets, because the people who were staying to the bitter end at that time started calling themselves crickets, because I was like, nobody's here. We're talking to crickets. And they were like, you are talking to crickets. You're talking to us. We're the crickets. And I have fucking loved that since it happened. I remember, because it's a little bit of, it's, first of all, it's a vulnerable fucking thing to turn on a microphone and go, I'm going to tell you all the thoughts in my head and put it out there into the world, right? And it's a little scary, but you kind of feel like we're talking to one another, right? And then when you start getting feedback, you're like, oh my God, there's people listening. So then you're a little bit more aware of yourself. Then when you get a critique like that, and we decided to do something about it, it was hard, because now I'm like, but I don't even know why people are here. Like, this was early days. I'm like, do they like us? Do they like the top? Like, I don't know. So would they stay for this? And then to find out that not only were people staying for my weird ramblings, they were then identifying themselves in such a way. I mean, it was just so fucking gratifying. So fucking gratifying.
It was cool.
So yeah, we're all in on crickets now. So yeah, there were several questions. Some were so broad, we will need like an episode to talk about it. And I have to have a business meeting with you, because I had a series of podcast episodes, like a literal, hey, I want to call this a series. That's how many topics came to me at one time. It's the stupid walk for our stupid mental health. That's what does it. And so some of these questions that were just too broad might be either part of that series or just an episode to do. So yeah, that was the last one. Thank y'all for your questions. Okay, so we take questions over on Instagram, like I said, because it's just easier, the mechanism they have. But also, I have started letting my goofy side out in a different way over there. The reels I post are like meme-like reels that I'm making. Like, I'm taking like a popular sound or a popular meme, but I'm kinking it up. And I don't know if I'm entertaining anybody else, but I am delighted and I'm laughing and cackling over the shit that I'm posting. And so if you're like a little skeptical about the Instagram thing, I'm just saying, I think I'm hilarious. If you would like to find out, it's at that fucking handle I hate, Loving DS and the number 1. So at Loving DS1, I fucking hate that handle. Anyway, there. That's the pitch for the fucking handle I hate. Okay. And so now we can go into a bonus section.
Okay. So are we good?
I don't know. My throat hurts. I have now talked so much. My throat hurts. I've talked so much.
Keep it kinky, y'all.
And we'll see you next week. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Can we talk to the crickets, please?
Well, what if they don't want to hear us talk anymore?
Then they're free to leave. That's what consent's about. I can talk to myself. I've been talking to myself for 44 years. Pretty sure before I was able to form words, the babble was really for my benefit, not for anybody else's.
Not for anybody else's.
So while I hope folks will stay, and I want folks to stay, and I would be sad if we were alone, I can keep talking with no fucking body here. You could leave, and I would keep going.
Okay.
Nope. I meant if everybody else went away and you left, I could keep going. That is what I meant. Did you ever answer the question?
No.
It's a good thing I kept talking just to you then, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. You can talk to the crickets.
Thank you, Dad. Lola is having a rough week. We have to give the Lola report. Lola has a very swollen eye.
Yeah.
Looks like somebody popped her in the eye. That is not what happened. But
No.
I mean, you're like, did she get in a fist fight? What happened to her?
Well,
It's your story to tell. Go
The
ahead.
funny thing is that over the weekend, somebody was asking about Lola and was like, oh, she's doing good. She's doing good. And that went to shit real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, back in July, had to take her into the vet because there was something going on with her eye that we didn't know.
Right.
It wasn't bad at the time. The vet looked at it, and it's one of two things. It's either a clogged tear duct, or I guess this is apparently common in Lola's breed. The
Lower eyelid.
lower eyelid has curled in on itself.
And so her eyelashes are curled in too.
are curled in. So, it was irritated, but the vet said it wasn't to the anything serious, and
It was a keep an eye.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun. Keep an eye on it kind of situation.
Yep. So Monday, noticed that her eye was looking a little more red, or the around the eye, the eyelids, the lower eyelid. Tuesday morning, woke up, and her eyelid was angry.
Yeah.
Very
So
swollen. There was some discharge. Got her into the vet. Vet was able to see her that morning.
Like a couple hours later,
Yeah.
because I had a doctor's appointment. I had to go to get the oldest and take him grocery shopping. Like I was gone. I'm like, I cannot help you. Here's. Do you have the number for the vet? You're gonna have to call them.
Yeah, and so what the vet looked for was to see that she did not have any active ulcers in her eye, which she did not. That came back fine, which was good. So what she's having us do right now, 3 times a day, I have to put drops in her eye, 2 drops in her eye. And then I also have to put get a hot compress and put it over her eye for several minutes. I got an easy pass on the first eye drops.
Because she didn't know what that was.
She didn't know what was coming. Since then, the eye drops have been a little bit of a challenge.
She does not like it.
No, she does not. But she seems to do very well with the hot compress.
Yeah, I think it must be comforting to her.
Yeah.
Plus, you're hugging her and petting on her and loving her at the same time.
At the same time. So what we're kind of looking at this point is get to this Friday and see if the eye drops. I think they're like an antibiotic eye drop is what you told me.
Okay.
So the eye drops and the hot compress till Friday. If there is no major improvement, then they're going to put her on antibiotics,
Like a pill.
like a pill. And if that does not work, then they will have to do surgery.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we're hoping that the other things work.
We're hoping the other things work. Yeah. She is being such a champ about it.
Yeah. Yeah. She's not aggressive. She's quieter. She's lower energy, and she was already a baked potato, y'all. But she's lower energy than usual. But she's not aggressive. She's not so miserable that she's lashing out. She's just like, can I sleep in the most comfortable spot that I can find?
Right,
Will you stop putting things in my eyeball?
Right. Now, the upside to all this, she has lost 4 pounds.
She has. Oh God.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you why I was so confused today. So I'm texting back and forth with JB as I'm at red lights, as I'm trying to get to where I need to be with the kid. And he tells me, oh, she weighed in, she's 81 pounds. My brain remembered that the last time she weighed in, she had dropped 1 pound.
Right.
So when I saw the 1 in 81, I was like, she's never going to lose weight. And he comes back with, that was 4 pounds lost. And I was like, I don't know how to number. I don't know how numbers work.
Because initially she was 85.
No, she was 80. Yeah,
85.
Okay, then she was 84.
Then she was 84.
Now she's 81.
And now she's 81.
So her medication seems to be helping.
Yes.
Could I get some of that? Would her vet please prescribe? I'm at a different weight class, so I might need a different dose.
So that's kind of where we're at with poor Lola. Kind of noticed she wasn't yowling tonight the way she has been the last few weeks for her walk.
Because she got swaddled on her cot and immediately fell asleep.
Yep.
we think temporarily.
We think
we found the trick.
That may be the trick.
We recorded Monday's video and she didn't say a word. She didn't make a
sound. And prior to the recording, she was kind of on her bed, but she wasn't. She was doing that circling thing that the dogs do. And I went over there. I grabbed her blanket and I picked it up, put it on. Put the blanket on her. She lay down, and then I just kind of swaddled and covered her, and she put her nose down into the blanket under her, and she has been there the whole time.
We love a comfy cozy girl.
Yep.
She's in her comfy era.
Hey, I love to be comfy cozy too. So
I mean, same. Okay, I'm not going to go into too great a detail here, but I have to complain about this. I've already complained to you about it. So I went to the doctor.
Okay, so it's nothing that I did.
This is not the forum I would be complaining about. Not for the first time it being mentioned. I will complain after I've already talked to you and we're now laughing about it.
Yeah.
Now, had a doctor's appointment Tuesday because I'm tired of sweating through the sheets at night, right? So I have been dealing with the perimenopausal journey. Please give me some more estrogen kind of life for, what is it, like a year? Maybe a little over a year. Y'all know I'm bad with dates and my memory is shit. But I have had lab work done, blood drawn, specific to check these specific hormone levels, no less than 4 times, right? I have had different prescriptions from this particular doctor. I've had multiple visits. I can remember that because I know how much I'm paying every time I walk up to the front desk. Okay. I go in for this visit because I needed some medications to be, the prescription to be renewed. And I was also needing to tell the doctor, and I'd done this all online through the messaging portal. I was like, I need this renewed. There's no more refills on this. And also I'm still fucking miserable and it's actually gotten worse. Is there anything we can do? She's like, oh, well, we need to do lab work and you need to come in for an appointment and then we can talk about it. I was like, okay, great. A few more weeks of misery. This is lovely. So I did it. I go. The doctor walks in and goes, so I see that we're here to talk about your blood work and your lab results today. And, maybe talk about hormone replacement therapy. Have we ever had this conversation before? Have you ever had any of this done? I'm like, yep, at least 3 or 4 times. Which was okay, let me back up. I do not expect busy doctors to remember me every time I walk in. I recognize that for me, they're a singular person, so I'm going to remember them. And they see hundreds of patients between, the last time she saw me and that. maybe thousands. I don't fucking know. I don't expect you to like remember me. I would love it if you could at least maybe remember my face. I would love it even more if just before you walked in the door, you looked at my fucking chart. So this is a doctor who has a person who's taking the notes and transcribing as the appointment is happening. I appreciate that because I don't think I would trust her to chart and put notes in my chart. So I'm great. So then she turns to this person while I'm still sitting there and goes, oh, show me the last few. Goes through 4 of them and goes, oh. Okay. And I'm not rocking the fucking boat because I don't need to piss this woman off for her to go, I'm not going to give you these medications that I'm over here going, I know I need these medications. Okay. So I'm just like, Then she turns to me and she goes, okay, so, and she understood on the testosterone she needed to renew that because it's a controlled substance. But she started talking to me about testosterone cream and how that's used for hormone replacement therapy as if it was the first time. Okay, well, I'm going to have to do this and it's a controlled substance and you have to get it compounded and here. And I'm just nodding like, yeah, I've had like 6 fucking refills. Like, but I didn't say that because I'm not broke on the boat. And I also am not confrontational. I'm just not. I'm just like, And then she goes, okay, so you should keep taking your progesterone. And I go, well, you told me to stop taking that. That doesn't sound like me. This is one of those times I'm glad I remember certain things. I go, well, the conversation went like this. The last time I'd gone on a medication break and I came back in and you were renewing the medications because I was miserable on that medication break. And you said, and I quote, you don't have a uterus, so you don't really need progesterone, so we won't worry about that. And then she goes, I said, because I didn't think she remembered. I was like, I've had a partial hysterectomy. I don't have a uterus. She goes, oh, yeah, because progesterone is protective for the uterus, but you do need progesterone. Your levels are very low. And I'm like, really? She goes, so I'll give you a higher dose, and this is my highest limit. I think that's probably as much as you need. And if you're not already there, I'll bump you up. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just nodding and I'm just smiling because I'm like, get me through this appointment. And I just want my medication again. I want to stop sweating through the sheets. And I would like the cooch to stop feeling like we're in the Sahara. That would be great. And I would also like to remember what wanting sex feels like because I miss that. So I'm like, I'm just smiling and nodding. I'm smiling and nodding. And I'm like, this bitch just... And so I was talking to my mom later and she's like, why are you still with this doctor? I'm like, because going to this doctor means I don't have to like meet new people and do the research and read the Google reviews and not trust the people leaving Google reviews. I know this woman will give me fucking HRT. I don't know if a new one will or not. So anyway, that was my complaint.
Yeah, that was a bumpy day for you.
Yeah, it was already stressful because Lola's eye, and we were having some stuff like just going on that we had to deal. And and I went from that appointment, which I walked in stressed because I wanted my medication. I didn't know if she'd give it to me, but then I left stressed because I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I drove to Gainesville because the 19-year-old's like, "I'm hungry," and I don't mean he wanted McDonald's. He's like, "Will you take me to the grocery store?" I was like, "Yes," and because we were supposed to do it over the weekend and we couldn't make that. It's been wild. So we go do that, and I look at I do not know how somebody, and podcast listeners, you can't see me, but if you've ever seen a picture, I do not know how somebody who looks like me had 2 very tall, very slender children who cannot keep weight on.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know their biological father, and I know that family. None of us know where this is coming from. So they have the opposite of the problem I have, and they literally cannot keep weight on. It's a struggle for them. And I'm looking at my 19-year-old going, you were smaller than the last fucking time I saw you. And then I went to like give him a hug, and I'm like, I feel all the vertebrae in his neck. And I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, well, I'm like, what the fuck? That is what I said to him. He's like, well, I eat dinner. He's like, and I make breakfast, or I try to make breakfast. He's like, it's the middle of the day meals. I'm not... And, there's some legitimate reasons. Some are like a teenager's sort of justification for shit. He's also a broke college student. So, I was like, okay, well, let's go to the grocery store. Let me talk you through some simple ways to like that I think you might be willing to do. And then I was like, don't worry, I will send you written instructions later. And then I'm on the phone with my mom, his grandma, and she's like, well, I want him to, I'm telling her, like, I really wish he would eat more. He needs to eat more. I need to make sure he's got groceries. And she's like, I want him to eat more too. She goes, well, what does he do? I'm like, well, he loves to go to Wawa. Loves him some fucking Wawa. It's also convenient to the music building. Like, there's one, like, a couple blocks down or whatever. So she is now on a mission to just send him Wawa gift cards. She was like, tell him he's supposed to eat with these. He rides a bike, not a bike, but a motorcycle, but a little one. So he doesn't really need it for gas. Gas is like $3 and it lasts him like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it is food. And she's like, you tell him to eat. Yes, ma'am, I will tell him to eat. I'll tell him to eat. I'll tell him to eat. I'll tell him to eat. Wow. So, yeah.
So, yeah, that's been our week so far.
And in the middle of it, we got cutting boards up on your shop.
Yep.
We're launching a product and a sale for the Kinky. Email folk will hear about it on Thursday. Everybody else will get to hear about it on Friday. And I made a coloring book. And I neglected my vanilla Etsy shop, but I got plans for that. But have I researched the curriculum for the youngest at school? And I had wanted him to start next Tuesday. No, I have not.
I firmly believe that there's a little bit of a mental block there after the scarring from last year's homeschooling.
You know what? I will not be full on snarky like I was just thinking. I agree with you there. Also, I've worked 17 days in a row.
I know.
8 to 10 hour days without a break. So I'm gonna have to make the time.
you have been.
I've been.
You've been. It's been. Yeah.
We got a question in the live chat. Does the school have a free coaching counseling program? They also help with practical solutions. They have a pretty good they have specifically a good like group office thing for neurodivergent students. Getting the oldest to do it would probably be a different experience, but I could probably look into it and see if I can send him some information. He's mostly doing, like, his bills are paid. He's got everything on auto pay. His grades, they just started school, so he's like, they're barely into it. But like, he took summer courses and his grades are fine, and he's handling the schoolwork and the responsibility. But I am the whatever my neurodivergence is of food is my dopamine rush, so I've never forgotten a meal in my fucking life. He is that brand of ADHD where it's like, oh,
he'll
you have to eat?
He'll forget, yeah.
And he won't realize until he's like at the end. So it's like, and we never realized that truly about him because he was at home and I could keep him fed, or like he had a very solid routine. So he was always eating breakfast at a certain time. And this past year, he's struggled with it. So just got to get him fed. He has, in high school, he used to be like, oh, leftovers. He hated leftover night in this house. And I'm like, look, we're not made of money or food. We're eating leftovers in this fucking house. And he would turn his nose up. He'd make a sandwich, anything that he did not want to eat leftovers. And now I'm like, so how do you feel about leftovers now? He
the attitude is slowly starting to change.
He loves to tell me how he ordered Chipotle and they somehow made it. I know that they made it real big for him this time. He's like, I couldn't eat it all, so I just saved the other half and I ate it the next day. I'm like, huh? Who'd have thought that's how leftovers work? It's almost like somebody told you about that.
Right.
Glad you discovered, much like Columbus was discovering things. I'm glad you discovered leftovers there, dude. Anyway, I love that boy. So, yeah. We're two wild and crazy guys. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I mean, can I keep rambling and like lying? Of course I can.
Yes.
You know, he says that, and yet when I get super quiet, and not because I'm like super focused on something, but like I just get really quiet.
Are you okay? Is something wrong? What's the matter?
If you want to know what my either mental or physical state is when I'm talking up a storm, pretty good. Even if I'm ranting and pissed, when I get real quiet,
look out.
It's bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
True.
So anyway, I guess we should go now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thewooddome.com or use the link in the places to JB's Etsy shop. Thank you to us for sponsoring us. Okay, we're going to go now. Okay, bye.